From the point of view, from a funder or financier, my experience is I've been a partner at Ethos for about the last 12 years as an operating partner, and sort of sat and looked in a lot of investment committees in terms of what it takes to get a project over the line in terms of committing funding. And I think, I like to make the distinction between something that's interesting and something that's compelling. And it's different. So there are lots of good ideas there. There are lots of interesting ideas. The challenge to get people or funders to commit funds is to make it compelling. And I think is a real opportunity to step up in terms of, and really look to examine and bridge that. I think in that process, and you mentioned DD, Jack, I think in the process, it's not just to get presentations right, but I think it sharpens thinking and focus. So I just put down 4 key points that I think are worth focusing on going forward. And they may be obvious points, but I think in any proposals that come forward, I think the first thing is you've got to have a really clear, concise, and compelling thesis. And that is, and the question you're looking to answer in the thesis, and this is not a 25-page document, this is 2 or 3 key paragraphs that are really clear, and I think have evidence points. And you're really answering the question of why do you think that this project will work? I mean, what are the fundamental underlying, you've got to identify those with some proof points. Not an idea, but I think this project will work for the following 3 or 4 reasons. And, everything sort of, flows from that. But I think the next point is, what's a clear point of distinction? What do we do that's different to what others are doing? And it doesn't have to be, something that comes from outer space. It may be an execution capability, it may be in product, it can be doing something that others do, but you do it differently. There is a point of distinction that matters to people that are going to use your service or product. The third element, which I think is really critical, is be very clear on the operating model. So how does this business make money? You've got to figure out, in my view, from everything from revenue, from the first rand in, to the amount of cash you have at the end, or if it's negative in early stages, how eventually this revenue to cash. What is the operating model? What are we going to be able to sell the product or service for? What is the margin that we're going to be able to make on this after input costs? What are our fixed costs in terms of being able to maintain this business on a sustainable level? And what are the cash requirements, and what do we have at the end of the day? And being very clear on that operating model. And it's, you can't prove the future, but you've got to have a clear idea. And I think the clearer your idea is on it, and no one's looking for proof of the future, you can never do that. But I think an understanding and clarity helps funders get over the line. And then finally, I've just sort of put it all in one bucket. It goes to execution capability, scalability, understanding of risks. There's never pretend there are no risks. Everything's got risks. But I think an upfront understanding and awareness gives funders confidence that with that acknowledgement, there's a capability to manage risks as and when they occur. So so that goes to execution capability and scalability. I think is a critical question as well. So, sort of in conclusion, Jack, I think there is real opportunity to work with teams to, just shape that, and not from a presentational point of view, but from a fundamental content substantive perspective.